Hey there, how you doing? Dave Allred, the Real Barman here from barpatrol.net. Today I have a real treat for you. A good buddy of mine, Nick Fosberg, and I have been working closely together for the past few months, helping bar and restaurant owners and managers just like you run a better business through promotions, marketing, profit boosting techniques, and recently we've decided to take all those lessons and use those teachings to create a new show to help you absolutely kill it in 2019. We're going to be releasing these shows about once per week, and it will cover all sorts of topics from promotions to marketing to inventory management to leadership and other tips, tricks, and secrets to help you succeed on a massive level in your business. So off we go. This is the 2019 kickoff for the Dave and Nick Show, coming at you via the Bar and Restaurant Success Podcast run by Nick. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to post them in the comments section. You can also click in the link below this video if you're interested in learning more about the Bar and Restaurant Inner Circle run by Nick. I guarantee you it will take your business to a whole new level. Okay, let's kick it off.
Welcome, guys, to the Bar Restaurant Breakthroughs podcast. This is episode 29, and we're going to talk about 3 steps to take your bar restaurant business to the next level in 2019. I got my co-host, Dave Allred, with me from Bar Patrol. Dave, how are you, bud?
I'm doing awesome. I'm fired up for this little show we're doing. It's kind of our version of the Bar and Restaurant Man Show, even though it's for women and men. We're both men, so it's our man show. I get to be Jimmy Kimmel, though. You get to be the other guy because we don't know who that guy is. But I'm fired up. Let's do it.
Awesome. And one thing I want to bring up, this is the first podcast YouTube video I've done again, recently in about 5 months or so. Just been really busy with a lot of other things going on within the business and my bars. And I made it a goal of mine in 2019 to get this thing kicked back off with you, just because I felt you have a lot of value. I have a lot of value that we want to share with other bar restaurant owners. And there's a lot of other bar restaurant owners we're going to be interviewing where they could share some value as well. So, I'm really, really excited to get this going and have you co-hosting this with me. So we'll dive into this. And the first thing I want to talk about, Dave, is, being able to take your business to the next level obviously isn't that easy. It all comes down to mindset. And the first thing I want to talk about is, what's the big problem that holds bar restaurant owners or any entrepreneur back from saying, okay, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to be, and actually being able to make that happen. And a couple things I think about is, lost vision. They really don't think of where they really want to be. They're just so busy working in their business versus working on their business that they don't even know really what they're working towards, because they just have so much stuff on top of them because they're like wearing all the hats within the business.
Right.
And that's one thing. And I think the other thing is too, is just like when that happens and you have everything on your shoulders and everything's, relying on you, you get that lack of motivation and you tend to burn out when everything's coming down on you, especially if you're not making the amount of money that you want to be making. And you're putting in 50, 60 hours a week. I think it leads to burnout. When you're burnt out, you're not very excited about your business anymore. And I think that's kind of one of the big problems that holds people back. So it's like, what do we need to do to kind of get out of that rut in order to make that happen, right? And kind of some of the things that have helped me and what I've learned from mentors, productivity coaches, my own is step one is just, again, thinking of that vision of where is it that you really want to be, and using what Stephen Covey says. He's the author of the book, Seven Habits of Highly Successful People, or Effective People. The second habit he talks about is begin with the end in mind. So when you think about your big goal, where is it that you really want to be? And so the way I like to talk with clients about this is, your big vision. Think about it. 5 years from now, you got in the bar business, you got in the restaurant business for a purpose, right? But how many hours do you really want to be working? Do you want to be working 50, 60 hours a week, or would you rather be working 20 or 10? How much money do you want to be making? How much money should actually be going into savings? Not your overall sales, but how much money do you want to be putting into your bank account? What work do you just hate doing that you don't want to be doing, all the time? What would you like to just stop doing because it irritates you? You just don't want to do it. Do you want to have one location, that pretty much runs itself while you're on vacation for 2 weeks? Or do you want multiple locations that you could leave and be gone and those run themselves for a couple of weeks? So, step one is really just about getting that vision and figuring out really what is it that you want. And maybe those things right now might feel impossible to you, but let's just say 5 years down the road, what's that big vision that you want for your bar or restaurant? What are your thoughts on that?
It's so true that the overwhelming part comes in when you start running a business. And the main thing to do, you talking about having the vision being the end point, it's true. You need to change your focus in what you're doing. 95% of our focus is in all the problems and all the pain points that we're talking about. So we're trying to kind of figure that out today. What's your problem? What's your pain point? What's really that, pitchfork in your side right now? But at some point, we got to switch our focus to the solution. You can't just spend all your time bitching and moaning about everything that's going wrong. That's how people just keep sinking. So at some point, you need to identify the problems and the pain points, and then you need to, create an action plan, set some goals about how we're going to do this, and take it one thing at a time. It's how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Just that one thing at a time. And one of the things in your marketing thing is do one promotion on one day. Don't try to, line up a bunch of promotions on all the days of the week. Just one thing at a time, and start focusing on how can we get one solution at a time for each pain point so we can get to that vision at the end.
Right. And that exactly with what you said kind of like leads us into, step 2. And I like to call that become part of the 8% club. So this is kind of a crazy stat that I read last year, but it's always stuck with me. Step 2, it's become part of the 8% club, which is all about creating an action plan around your big goal, your big vision. It's beginning of the year. We got this new big vision, this new big goal. What's it going to be? Well, now it's creating a plan, just like you said, to knock that out. And that stat that I read was University of Scranton says that only 8% of people achieve their goals for the new year. Okay, that's 8%. Why is it so low? I would imagine from myself, in the past, and just people I've worked with, and just, hearing other people's issues with not getting their goals completed. It's really, they don't map out that action plan or the baby steps to achieve that big goal. They have this big goal, but it's like, okay, here it is, but how the hell am I even going to get there?
Right.
And so one thing I like to kind of put into people's heads, is, if, and kind of exactly with what you're kind of saying about the whole promotions thing, is that if your goal is to add more revenue, which I would say 8 out of 10 people listening to this, it's probably that. But let's say if you want to add another $100,000 in sales to your business this year, that might kind of sound impossible. Like, how the hell am I going to add $100,000 in sales this year? But if you think about it, that's only $8,000 a month. And if you break that down of how do I increase it $800 a month, that's just another $2,000 per week. And over the course of a year, if you could think about it, how can you increase just 4 nights, 4 days, 4 days, 4 nights by $500 each? If you can do that, are you going to do that in month 1? Absolutely not. I mean, it could be possible, but realistically, if at the end of 12 months from 2019 to 2020, if you could increase on average 4 days by $500 each, you're going to increase those sales by $100. So that's one way to kind of look at it. And like you said, focus on one specific promotion for that week, get that going, focus on that for 30 days, and then move on to the next one. So literally this could be done within a 4-week time or 4-month time frame if you focused on one day, 30 days, put all your marketing promotions into that one specific day, just to increase it by $500 a day. And that really shouldn't be, too hard. And maybe it even starts with just increasing prices by a quarter. That also helps. Another one is, gaining more freedom. There's a lot of bar restaurant owners who they're doing well. It's just, they're doing everything. They're not good at outsourcing certain work, right? So, start with the process-based work such as, the ordering, the scheduling, paying bills, like all that kind of stuff that's not really putting more money in your pocket. That stuff could easily be outsourced and taught to other people if it's kind of the same thing week after week. So those are just, a few things that you could do to start gaining more freedom. But like we talked about, whatever you don't like doing, whatever you don't enjoy doing, whatever's the same reputable type of task, job, that could always be passed off to someone at 8, 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour that we don't need to be doing as bar restaurant owners, because we should be focusing on working on the business, either increasing revenue or gaining more freedom and passing things off to other people. Big issue now is teams, right? Your staff. Everyone's bitching about how they can't hire people, how, these millennials just, don't want to work, which some is true, to that. But one thing I would highly suggest that anybody does who feels that they don't have the greatest staff, have a weekly meeting, number 1, with your managers. And then number 2, do a monthly meeting with your staff. And by doing that, you're getting everybody together more often, but you could start working on the business and figuring out where you have broken systems to make everybody's jobs easier, make it less frustrating. Because I'm sure you've seen it working in this business. If there's broken systems and staff is getting yelled at for this and that, for stuff that they don't know how to do right, or the right systems aren't in place, they're not going to want to work for somebody, like that, where they're always getting yelled at and whatnot. So I think it's just really important that if you're trying to build a better team, have a monthly meeting. I do ours on the first Saturday of every month, and then I do our manager meeting every single Tuesday with my wife and Rodney. And another just thing I'll throw out there, a book I just got done reading is Built to Lead. That would be a great book for any bar owner, restaurant owner, manager to just read about management and how to be that one, or he talks about the 1% manager of being in that. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of things that even I could do better and things I could pass off to my managers. But what are your thoughts just, revolving around kind of just, whether if it's the management side or, kind of creating that action plan, what have you seen that kind of helps you kind of finish off your goals?
Yeah. And we're talking about running a bar and restaurant, which is a specific industry. But when you're talking about running anything, it's about becoming a better leader first, right? So a big thing you need to do is just change your pattern. Whatever you're doing right now, if it's not working for you, it's that whole definition of insanity. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So you need to do something different. And a big thing that helped me, we're talking about goals. Nick had his percentage, his 8% little thing. I also have my 3% goal stat. I loved. I shared it with Nick the other day. But when I was first starting out with my business with Bar Patrol, my brother-in-law, who's a great mentor for me, he's a great businessman, he said, "Do you have your goals?" And I said, "Yeah, I got my goals." He said, "Did you write them down?" I said, "No, they're up in my head." He goes, "Well, you don't have goals then." So any of the stuff that we're talking about here, you got to write this stuff down. Any action plans you're doing, you need to write it down. You need to write your goals down, get up every day, take a look at them. Better yet, write them again so they get seared into your brain. And my 3% stat is they did this study years ago at Berkeley where they asked like 1,000 people, how many of you write your goals down? 3% wrote their goals down. They found those people, or as many as they could find 20 years later, and found out that those 3% were making more than the 97% combined. So the question is, where do you want to be in all that? Do you want to be the 3% or 97%? So the people that blow it off and be like, yeah, I'll do it, or it's no big deal, I'll just run my business and take a few of these tips. If you don't get serious about it and change the pattern of what you're doing, you're just going to keep getting the same results you are, and you're going to be in that 97% instead of that 3%. So we're talking about becoming business-minded, not just in the bar and restaurant industry, but being a leader just in general in your life and kind of changing the direction you want to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I love that set. I've read multiple places too that you come up with your goals, write them down, keep them in front of you on your desk, but somewhere where you see them every day. And sometimes you can sit back, close your eyes, and imagine you reaching that goal. What's life going to be like, and like feel it like, and I've done it.
Visualization is huge. Absolutely.
Do I do it every day? No, I'm not going to sit here and bullshit anybody. Right. But there are times where, I have that, and when I got some time, I want to sit back and just think about that. And that shit just motivates you when you start thinking, oh yeah, I got an extra $100,000 in my bank account, extra $200,000 in my bank account. What would life be like? And, I'm only working 10 hours a week. That looks pretty exciting. So when you're able to do that, it does motivate you to start taking action and getting things done. Cause that's the hardest part, is motivating yourself to kind of take that next step. What I have for step 3 is really planning out a weekly action time. Okay. So pick 2 or more hours a week that you're going to focus working on your business, on your goals. Okay. Put it in a calendar, and those 2 hours, say it's from 10 to 12 on Mondays. That's where you're working on your business, not it, like do it out, whether you got to go to a coffee shop or you sit at home, whatever, don't do it in your business, but just 2 hours of working on your specific goals, whatever that is. And then there's also learning time. Right. Reading, watching videos online, hiring an expert, do this outside of your business, but finding other people to learn from. There's so many books out there that are great to learn from. Watching, YouTube is filled with stuff. You could find so much great information where if you're stuck and you don't know how to do things, Google will tell you the answer to anything these days. Or, even better yet, I'm the type of person where I'd rather go hire someone for me to say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's where I want to be. Just tell me what the fuck I need to do. Right. That's what I did when I almost lost my bar the first time. 8 months of being in the business. I found a marketing coach who I'd followed. I was reading books, but I just, there's so many different things you could learn about. And it's like, where do I start? Sometimes it helps finding someone to say, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to be. And that's what I did. And that's really what helped me, just to have someone show me that path. And then there's, action time, implementing what you actually learn through that book, through those videos, through your marketing coach or business mentor or whoever the hell it is, right? But again, do this stuff outside of your business, when it makes sense. If it's training staff and managers, obviously that kind of stuff needs to be done in-house. But, with all this stuff, just have a calendar, create reminders. But if there's no weekly action plan to work on your goals, and I'm saying take that big vision, that big goal, break it down into smaller goals that you want to start completing, what needs to be done first in order to reach there, whether if it takes you a year, 2 years, whatever it is, at least you got the footsteps and the roadmap in place to actually get there. However, where I see a lot of people go wrong is they don't actually, just like you said, they don't write down the goals. They're not actually putting down specific times. Oh yeah, I'll do it on Monday at this time. Well, if you don't have reminders and all that stuff set in place, if it's not scheduled down for you, there's a good chance you're not going to follow that, and it's not going to become a habit. So that's step 3. But with all that said, if your goal is really to increase more revenue and learn how to start systematizing your business and outsource more stuff to other people on your staff while feeling confident that the job's getting done. There's a link below this video. You might want to consider looking into the Bars Inner Circle membership. That's where Dave and I are able to work with clients on a weekly basis. There is, of course, a 30-day money-back guarantee. This is not for everybody. It is for bar restaurant owners who actually want to take action, want to achieve success, and actually do take action. So take a look at that. Might be for you, might not be for you. Dave, great episode. I hope people got a lot of value, and we'll see you on the next one.